Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be checking out the SteelSeries Apex Pro TKL keyboard. Now this keyboard is going to be more on the expensive side and it's targeted towards pro gamers playing at pro championships, typically when there's money on the line. And if you're not one of those type of players, it's also good if you're just a competitive gamer in general. As of making this video, this keyboard is going for $180, which is definitely up there in terms of the mechanical keyboard marketplace. And at that price point, you are going to get a premium build quality keyboard with some accessories such as a magnetic wrist rest. You also have a braided cable along with a keycap puller that is hidden inside the keyboard, which we'll get to those things in a few moments here. Now, as far as the color aesthetics go, this keyboard does come only in the black color, which I have no problems with. It's standard, it's clean, you can't complain about this neutral tone. In terms of the sizing options, it comes in TKL, which stands for 10 keyless, which means the number pad is missing, but you do have the arrow keys along with the navigation keys. It comes in the mini, which has this bit missing and it's just the key letters here. And finally, it also comes in a full-size keyboard, which is going to have the number pad and the whole thing, and it's going to be a much longer build. As for me personally, I'm a bigger fan of the smaller keyboards like this TKL or maybe even the mini, mainly because I don't like having my mouse spread out so far from my keyboard, because it just doesn't feel natural to me when, you know, my hands are kind of spread out like this. It just feels like I'm stretching my elbows a little more, but with a mini setup or a TKL, it's gonna feel much more comfortable. So the build quality, this thing is high quality, especially given the price mark. You can tell that it is a sturdy build, and I can tell you right now, if I do a bend test, this thing has no build whatsoever. This thing feels like a tank, and the main reason it doesn't bend in the bend test is because it has this aluminum backplate, which is aircraft grade, and this thing is going to be sturdy. If I actually touch the metal itself, it is going to be cold to the touch, which feels really nice. And it also has like this kind of matte finish to it. You're also going to have an LED screen that lights up over here, and on this LED screen you're able to do things like display image or even show how far the switches are being pressed and a few other useful statistics, which I did create a software video that you can check out after this one. And then it also comes with this beautiful wrist rest that has a nice rubberized finish to it, which feels really good. You can tell that this material is going to be easy to clean. You can just get a wet rag or a Lysol wipe and just wipe it down. It's going to be nice and clean for maintenance. Also has these magnetic tips on the edges, which is going to be really great for the wrist rest and the keyboard to not spread apart as you're typing or using the keyboard. They're always going to be connected. And then if we flip over to the back of the keyboard, you can see that there is going to be a few things going on here. Firstly, the little rubber tab here is a storage compartment for where the keycap puller rests, and we'll get into the keycaps in a moment here, but that's nice and handy to have with you at all times. If you, in case you want to quickly clean the keyboard, you can just pop all the keys out, air dust it, wipe it down, and that's a clean setup. Or you can pop the key switches out and actually customize them or replace them. Now on the back, you also have these adjustable legs with 2 adjustment levels. You have like this little prop up settings for a slight tilt, and then you have this higher angle, which gives you an even larger angle, and that's gonna be based on personal preference. For me personally, I found that the keyboard felt good without any of the leg adjustments being used at all. And then of course there are going to be rubber grips on all corners of the keyboard, as well as the center focus points where the most pressure gets applied. And if we look at the cable, you can see that this is going to be a nice braided cable, and it is going to be detachable and connects via USB-C. So if you don't want to use this cable, you can totally swap it out for a coiled cable or a different color cable, depending on how you like to mod and design your keyboard. But I will say this cable is so nice, I probably wouldn't swap it until it like just gets ruined or whatever. All right, so let's get into the keycaps and key switches. So firstly, the keycaps, you can pull them off with the puller that we got from the back. Just clip it on, pull it up, and just like that, it's gonna come right off, and we can easily have access to the switch. And you can see this switch here is going to be a red, so it's going to be nice and linear, similar to how red mechanical switches function. But before we get into that a little further, let me show you a close-up on these keycaps. So these are going to be PBT switches, and they are going to be concaved. Concave means it's going to have this angle here for your finger to easily have a nice spot on the keycap. And then there's also going to be a lot of texture on the keycap itself, where your finger can easily feel that firm gripness, and it's going to just feel like your finger is latching on there without without too much slipping and sliding. So very good job by SteelSeries on creating these high quality PBT keycaps. Now the key switches themselves, they are removable and you can customize the switches if you do want to swap it out for a different look or feel. But for me personally, these felt okay, and I probably would just leave the keyboard like this, especially given the price point. It feels like it's a pretty good complete package right out of the box. And with that being said, we're going to do a quick little typing test for you guys on the SteelSeries OmniPoint 2.0 switches. So here we go. So overall, not a bad typing experience. Felt nice and fluid to me. I felt like they were just like red mechanical switches. If you haven't used those, go to your local Best Buy and just try them out there. Now in terms of loudness, they can get as loud or as quiet as you want them, depending on how hard you're pressing the key. If you need something more quieter, just tap more gently and lightly, and it's going to be very quiet where you won't be distracting people. And if you don't really mind the sound levels, and you can just go ahead and blast this thing and get as loud as you want with them. Now, something that separates this keyboard apart from a lot of the others is going to be the software and functionality of this keyboard. So SteelSeries has this technology called 2-in-1 action keys, which basically means you can press a button and it can do two different things based on the amount of pressure you're applying. So for example, if you're in a video game and you're trying to walk forward, you can gently just press the W key and you'll be walking. But if you press it all the way down, you'll be running. And that can be configured in the software where you activate the different actuation points and dual bindings and all this stuff. I did a very detailed video, so if you want to check that out, there's going to be a link to it right up here. Now in terms of the media controls and software compatibility, by default this keyboard does have this little dial up here, which by default just adjusts the volume and mutes it depending on if you're pressing it or pushing it. And then you also have the screen that has an image there by default, and you can customize it to have another image, or you can have different actuation levels activated showing you how hard you're pressing a key or other interesting statistics. As far as playing and pause media control buttons go, you're going to have to customize those in the software and have them assigned to your F keys or whichever keys you prefer. Out of the box, I don't think there's anything that works. Now what you can do out of the box is actually adjust the lighting settings. So if you look here, you can see that we do have this purple light, and in order to make it brighter or darker, you just hold the SteelSeries button, and F11 is to dim it. If I hold it, you can see they're off, and if I hold F12, you can see they're back on, and this is their brightest mode. Now I have the software pulled up right here, and you can see in terms of the lighting settings, I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can make it breathe between different colors. I have this red color here. You can make it color shift. You can make it a single color. If you want, you can go to their presets, and they have a lot of cool options you can choose from. So the possibilities are endless with how far you want to customize this. And then if I pop open the customization settings, again, I'm not going to go into detail, but you can customize the macros here, the dual bindings, actuation modes, dual actuation, OLED settings, all of that stuff. And then you can also customize your configs, which are basically like profiles on the left hand side over here. And then the software is going to work with both Windows and Mac, so whatever operating system you're on, SteelSeries has got your back for the customization settings with the keyboard. Now for me personally, one of my favorite features with this keyboard is going to be that dual actuation. I love the idea of having one button that can do two things based on the amount of pressure that's applied. So that's definitely something that comes in these top tier pro gamer keyboards where every little millisecond counts, and it really makes a big difference in terms of comfort and just how efficient you are with your productivity or even just gaming in general. So if you want to see a detailed software review video with this keyboard, be sure to click the video right up here. And with that being said, if you want to see more content like this in the future, be sure to click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.